Hi, welcome to our Halloween Q&A. I'm Pam Wool. I'm the Director of Family Services at Gender Spectrum.
And I'm Pam Wool. Sorry, girls. No, I'm not Pam Wool. But you know, it's Halloween. That's totally possible, right? That could be. I don't know what I would come dressed up as. No, I'm Lisa Kenney, Executive Director at Gender Spectrum. I would love to have a Pam Wool costume, though. That would be awesome.
But like old lady costume, I don't really understand what that would be.
No, all your awesomeness.
Okay. So, we wanted to have this program because Halloween, first of all, I have to say, I love Halloween.
All right.
Halloween is awesome. Not for me, myself, but like little children in adorable costumes plus candy.
What else do you need? Am I right?
Could be better.
No, that's so true.
I'm a huge Halloween fan. And I love Halloween because it's the time where the kids get to be whatever they want to be.
Yeah, you love that, right?
Gotta love it.
I mean, don't you just love when the kids come to the door, they're super excited, and they just feel great. Like you can tell they picked this costume out, they got all this time getting ready.
Waiting for your reaction.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that.
And the Halloween parades at school, like couldn't be cuter.
Yeah.
So
no,
I'm a
really
huge
love
fan.
that too. Yeah.
And Halloween can be a super special time for gender-expansive kids, right?
Yeah,
because it's
absolutely.
a time when they get to explore a little with their expression, do different things, and it can be a time. So sometimes it's the first time for a gender-expansive kid where they are actually kind of wearing something different than their norm.
That's right.
And at the same time, for parents, it can be a time where some questions come up, right? Because the parents have to decide, oh my God, my kid wants to wear this, what do I do?
And it may be the first time that this issue has really come up in the family.
Yeah.
You think it's sort of like every other year, and you say, okay, what do you want to be this year? And all of a sudden, it's like, oh, I want to be this year. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let me think on this, and then let's come back and talk tomorrow about what you're going to wear. Maybe hoping that they're going to come up with something different, and then still giving some time to think about, well, what does this mean? Which the truth is, it may mean nothing. And it may mean something. So I think that's a little bit of what we want to talk about today.
Right. And then kind of the question of, excuse me, I have to fix my ears.
I know, you're rocking the hat, though. Can I just say? I like that.
No one's as adorable as you.
Well, you didn't make the same parenting mistake. I was telling Carlos and Jenna earlier today that this is like parenting mistake 4,312 because I said to my kids, I need to wear a little something. Can we find something? And if you find me something, I'll wear it. I should learn. It's a rookie mistake. And my kids are teenagers, and yet I made this rookie mistake. Will I ever learn? Apparently the answer to that would be no. No. So I'm a Totoro today for any of you that are wondering. Super sweet movie, by the way, if you haven't seen it. Okay. Sorry, we digress, but now back on to... So what do you do?
So my kid wants to wear something that is, outside the gender norms. What do I do? Should I let them?
Should you celebrate it? I think you and I were talking earlier about the ways in which costumes have been gendered. I think you were giving that example of the article where the mom goes in and the kid wants to be a mummy, right? Is that what it was? And has two kids. One identifies as a boy and the other one as a girl. Both in soccer outfits, and then they say, oh, yeah, can you have a mummy costume? They're like, a girl mummy or a boy mummy? Like, is that a ridiculous question or what?
And it was real. Like, there were two different mummy costumes. So we'll attach that article because it's very interesting, but it's it really reflects just like the whole boy toy, girl toy, dilemma is the same for Halloween costumes. And it feels like it's getting worse and worse, as time goes on.
I think in some ways, and also the ways in which we sexualize children, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what exactly, I'd love to see the picture of what the girl mummy looked like, right? Because I'm guessing it wasn't head to toe mummification, which is what probably the boy mummy was. And it's just there's a lot of stuff wrapped up in that, right? Which is part of what we're trying to unpack in this conversation. So what do you do if your kid, maybe not in the case of the girl mummy or boy mummy thing, but comes and says, oh, I want to be, I think one of the most common ones, like Dorothy from Wizard of Oz, or has been in the past, or I can't, this is an indication that my kids are younger, a mermaid, or what's her name from Frozen?
Yeah.
Elsa. So maybe you have a child that you've identified as a boy, and now they say, I want to be Ilsa. Or a girl, well, see, here's the thing with kids, right? We give a lot more permission for girls to explore.
Expand.
So that's some of the challenge of what's going to come up here, right?
Right. So how do you make the decision? I think, first of all, the answer is yes. You should let them wear what they want to wear.
Right.
Unless you feel like there is some physical safety issue, like a real one that's not just based on kind of your fear.
Discomfort, right.
As a parent, or
fear. Right.
Or discomfort, right? That's a real physical safety issue, which is pretty rare, hopefully. Right. The answer is yes. And then kind of maybe work with them a little bit and prepare them for any comments or questions they might have.
I think the other thing, too, is when it comes up is ask them, tell me why you're interested in that costume. Not from a, now I'm going to try to talk you out of it, but from a genuine thing. They're trying to communicate something. They are communicating something about themselves. Mm-hmm. Now, it may just be their interest. When you find out, it's like, oh, yeah, I just love that character, whatever. That's all it means. They love that character. There isn't anything about it. For some of them, it might be a little bit more, and this may be an opportunity, and that's the beautiful thing about the costume, because it is this moment where they're telling you something about themselves in this moment. It may not be a big thing, but it may be a little big thing, just where they're trying to give you some indication of sort of where they are and what they're thinking
and
about.
what they like at this moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it may mean nothing about their gender identity, right? It could be like a little boy who was assigned male at birth, who really feels like a boy and wants to dress as a princess for Halloween, and that's what they want to wear, right? And it doesn't mean anything more than that, right?
Right, exactly. And I was going to say, who doesn't want to be a princess? Actually, I never wanted to be a princess. But I wasn't. But I want to go as other things, and I think that's the point. Is that Halloween for sure should be a point in which you get to just name for yourself who is it that you want to be on this single day of days. Now, the question is, so let's say you do. And as a parent, you say, yeah, okay, great. You want to be, let's just use the Ilsa example. And so, as you were saying, they then go to school as Ilsa. And part of what we want to do is to help them think about, hey, what might happen? If you're Ilsa, like, do you think other kids are going to be going as Ilsa? Oh, yeah, I think other kids. Do you think anyone else maybe that identifies as a boy, or that the other kids identify as a boy, are going to go as Ilsa? Maybe they will, right? Or not. Oh, if somebody says something, what kinds of things? Like, let's talk about maybe what you would say.
Yeah, and I think talking through it a little bit so that they're not surprised. I mean, I think some kids expect it and have already made the decision, like, that's cool. They can ask me what they want. This is what I'm wearing.
Yeah, right.
And I'm not
love
wearing anything else.
I love that kind of.
And then some kids really are like, oh, well, I might not want to deal with those questions, or not today, right? Like, maybe I'm just not in the mood today to deal with those questions. Yeah. And so then they might have decisions like, well, I'll wear that trick-or-treating, but I might not wear it to school, but it's really like what the kid wants to do.
Yeah.
So if the kid wants to wear it to school, yes, wear it to school, and then just help them, come up with some answers to some questions, some phrases maybe, so they're not stuck in the moment of getting their feelings hurt. Again, don't scare them and make them feel like, oh my God, someone's gonna say something to you. Don't make it a negative, make it light, make it positive, and just help them come up with some phrases.
And so, do you have any phrases that you?
Well, I think some phrases are like, it's Halloween, we get to be whatever we want, or sometimes I think what happens, and these actually I think go for parents too, because parents get questions. Like if you go to the
great
parade,
point. Yeah, that's a great point.
And your kid, who is assigned male is dressed as a princess, then they're gonna, you might get questions. Is that a girl or a boy? And you can say, oh, it's a princess.
Right, exactly. It's a princess. Exactly.
And change the subject.
Is that costume not sort of speaking for itself on this?
Yeah,
that's a princess. Exactly.
Or you could be more educational and say, yes, it's a boy, but in our family, people get to wear whatever makes them feel good without judgment. You can say all sorts of
whatever you want to say. Like, depending on who it is and how much disclosure and how much of a conversation. But if it's, you shouldn't feel like you need to do that too. You ought to be able to feel like you answer as much as you want, and I like it. I think one of the things too is to really give your child some language around feeling proud about how they look. I mean, if they're super excited about it, which is probably why they brought it up. some of the responses are going to be something like, yeah, and I'm rocking it, right? I mean, woo!
Yeah.
Like this, right? Let them feel that sense of pride and joy in how they look and the excitement that they have, because that's part of it, right? That's part of the gift of Halloween, is being able to just do it, just sort of be yourself and be the self you want to be.
And if someone says, you can't wear that, you're a girl, or you can't wear that, you're a boy, you can just say, there are no boy costumes or girl costumes, or like, we get to wear whatever makes us feel good, and also I think give your kid permission to just kind of say it and walk away, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They don't have to engage if they don't want to.
Right. They also don't have to have a processing discussion with their classmates about it either. They just want to, and talking that through, they can say as much or as little as they want about it. Right. That's a great point. So one of the issues we know that comes up, though, for, let's say it's not just about a Halloween costume. And let's say they really are sort of working through maybe some things around gender. And again, it doesn't have to mean gender identity. That's one of the things when we talk about gender identity, it's the name we give ourselves, our own sense of our gender, versus gender expression, which is kind of how we live our gender in the world. It's what people see and what they interact with. So a child that may want to be exploring some things or isn't quite sure, it may not be a gender identity issue. They may not yet have language or a sense of, or they may, right? So, which also can be really kids that are really young. But for some kids, they're just exploring things and they're just having fun with it. Right. And it might just be really fun to just kind of play with gender. But if the next day, the imaginary child we were talking about earlier, who went as Ilsa, when they wake up and put the Ilsa wig on again, and they want to wear their costume again, either inside the house or outside the house. That's a pretty common thing where a child might have actually felt so comfortable.
Yeah.
And we're all trying to experience some sort of congruence with ourselves, right? That the outside matches the inside. So if you do see that, if that's coming up with your child, then there may be something that you also want to talk to them about. If you feel that there's an attachment there, that they're really wanting to continue to wear the costume, if you notice them, doing things like putting on the wig or something like that, have a conversation, just an exploratory conversation with them to say, hey, I see that you're having a hard time taking the wig off. Did you enjoy having that wig on? And how did you feel? How did that? Yeah. And I think just to have a conversation to understand and maybe help create a space where they maybe could share something that they have some feelings about, but maybe don't really yet know how to articulate. And they may still not be able to articulate the whole thing, but at least it's the beginning of a conversation.
Because for a kid who really does feel like they might be a different gender than people think they are, Halloween might feel like, oh my God, I'm finally, being myself, and then going to put on their other clothes the next day might be more like putting on the costume, right?
Right.
So if those feelings come up, I think it's an interesting time for that kid, and it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity as a parent to kind of explore it with your kid.
That's right. Yeah, well, I think those are sort of the key things that we want to talk about. Anything else that you think about?
I think that's it. I think, we're going to attach a couple interesting articles about Halloween, and then on Friday, the October 20th.
October 20th.
Which I believe is Thursday. We're having a story time, which is a story about Halloween and a little kid who wanted to dress up as a princess. And it's a Spanish story time. It's called One of a Kind Like Me. And so we're going to have the author come and read the book, Lauren Maeno, and then...
And is that something you could have your kid...
Absolutely. It's for the kids. Again, we're going to be reading it in Spanish. But the book is in English and Spanish, so it's a great book. It's a great book for Halloween because that's exactly what it's about.
Great.
And so join us for that.
All right. Well, we hope you guys have a terrific Halloween.
Yes, a safe and happy Halloween.
Safe and happy that involves lots of candy.
Thank you, Totoro.
Thank you, Abominable Snowman. I hope you have a safe and happy Halloween,
you too.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.